What's good, you guys? Welcome to another episode of the Instagram sneakers series. Now, in this series specifically, I review independent sneaker brands that I found on Instagram. And now, as always, there's only 3 rules to this. Number one, I have to have found them exclusively on Instagram. Number two, they have to have a shoe that's 100% original design, so no bootlegs or parodies or things like that. And number three, they have to have a shoe that I think you would want to see and I would want to buy. Now, this shoe is going to be a little bit different than some of its predecessing ones. It's definitely the most eye-catching and honestly probably one of the boldest in style design. Now, I've been waiting for this shoe for a while. This is actually the first one I ordered. So without any further ado, let's just get into it, because today we're talking about the KIY Runner 1 Watermelon. Now, the first thing I want to talk about with this is the packaging, because this is super detailed. On the top, you get the KIY K in that kind of New Balance gradient style. Then you have KIY Running USA right there. And then on the other side, you get the KIY Running and Lifestyle Club branding. And this is actually a pull-out box similar to how Jordan 11s come. And then right there, you have the custom size tag. And besides all the crazy graphics on this box, all the colors are actually meant to correspond to the colorway of the shoe. And it even comes with the KIY branded tissue paper and shoe trees. Now, the KIY brand actually has a similar backstory to Dybbuk, New York. I previously reviewed one of his new shoes, the Vortex V2, on this series. But both brands started out with like a parody model that kind of set their brand off, and KIY's were more of these retro Jordan 1 bootlegs that had the lightning bolt on the side, which are still in production. But recently he's created this brand new model that's 100% original design, so that's why I wanted to review these. I've actually seen footage on the Donnie tapes of KIY and Dybbuk working together on shoe design, so I feel like they must have some sort of working relationship within the industry, whether it's just helping each other out on inspirations or designs. But as soon as I saw this new model, I was instantly in, and I knew I had to get a pair. So let's get into it. On the toe box, all these overlay panels come in a nice forest green, and then you have these lime overlays that are actually indented with these motion lines. And then on the medial and lateral corners, you have the KIY K. Then on the top of the toe box, you get this nice gradient mesh, and then underneath that, you have a white layer kind of contrasting that. And then you have this hit of 3M towards the lateral side that just pokes out a little bit, and then the KIY K at the base of the lacing system. Now, one of the first things I noticed having these in hand is all these green overlay panels. I'm not sure if it's a nubuck or like a synthetic leather or something, but it has a really nice kind of rugged feel to it, where I feel like that'd be really resistant to scuffs and scratches, so I like that element to it right away. On the lateral side, you have more of that gradient mesh that kind of fades in and out as you go across the shoe, and then over that you have these overlays in kind of like a TPU feeling material of this lime green, and in the center you have that kind of abstract K design in that purple that goes through the middle. Then right underneath that, you have this section in lime with this little bit of an embossed design on it. Those nubuck overlays and rubberized TPU sections take you towards the heel, and at the top of the heel you have more of a coarse feeling material. It's almost kind of feltish in a way, but it's very rigid, and you get those nice lines through it. And then just above the heel, you get this kind of plastic guard that goes around the entire heel, and then you have the contrasted stitching throughout in lime. And on the back of the heel, you get the signature KIY branding right there on another TPU panel with the lime green and that dark forest green. On the medial side, that K design in the center in purple is a little bit more obvious because now the perspective is flipped. But now we got to talk about this midsole. At the forefoot, you get it in green, which is a foam composition, and you have these squared off areas. But then almost the entire arch and heel area is in this watermelon pink that has these 4 see-through areas and then this fin at the back. Now, my only concern when I saw this design was just knowing that this back area was going to be a plastic TPU composite that might make it pretty rigid underfoot, similar to like an Adidas Mega Ride or maybe even the Nike Shox, how that might have been back when that tech was used. This is a very cool aesthetic and a bold design, but of course there is more rigidity to it because of that, but there's other elements in the shoe that kind of negate it, and I'll get into that in a minute. On the lacing system, you get more of those nubuck hits with that forest green and then the lime lines that go throughout. And then on the tongue itself, you get a forest green mesh and then this giant lime green tag with this KIY Running logo. That's really sweet, and underneath that it just says Runner. Now this comes installed with these forest green laces, but you also get 2 more lace options in lime green and then red. So whichever way you want to rock it, you have the options. Now the laces are pretty basic as far as quality. You don't get anything too premium, but the fact that you have 3 options is a really nice touch. Now the back of the tongue, heel collar, and insole come in this really bright watermelon red, and you get a nice bit of cushioning around the ankle collar, so that feels good on foot. But the main thing is this insole. As I've been going through this series, I've noticed every single one of these independent brands really takes the time to put a premium insole in there, and I just don't understand why big box brands don't take note of that, because it really increases the comfort on every single one of these. This is the insole that you get with the KIY ones, and if you look at the thickness of that, it's pretty meaty, way more than your standard shoe would be from any big box retailer. but I've compared this to all the other ones in this independent category, and this one seems to be the sweet spot because it's right in the middle between being too thick where it affects the fit and then too thin to where it doesn't give enough cushion. Just comparing these to the other two from this independent sneaker series so far, and then the Sauconys here in green, your standard insole, look at the difference right there. I mean, it's thickest over here, and then the Kais are right in the middle. The Arcs have a little bit extra, and then those Sauconys might as well be paper. So like I said, with this entire heel being a plastic TPU, this helps a lot against the rigidity of that to give you a lot of good cushion to kind of balance these out. And they even put a little bit of foam there on the lasting board inside, so all these elements together kind of combat each other and cancel each other out. This isn't necessarily a shoe I'd want to stand in line at the DMV with, but for walking around purposes for a couple of hours, it's no problem at all. I actually recently picked these up and I immediately put these insoles in them because everybody knows that Air technology ain't all that, and this insole makes these way more comfortable. The outsole traction pad just comes in black and has this really nice grid to it. At the forefoot, you can see it in this forest green, and then that watermelon pink of that TPU comes through at the center. And at the very back of the heel, you get a different type of texture and kind of a wavy thumbprint design, and then you have the Kai branding right there in the corner. As far as sizing, these are true to size in my opinion. I'm a size 12 wide and flat footer, and I didn't have any issues. The material lining on the forefoot and the midfoot is actually really comfortable and plush, so you don't have any irritation in that way, and you get that decent amount of padding at the heel collar that kind of locks you down in the shoe, and the tongue is pretty plush on foot as well. And on foot, these things go super crazy. I mean, obviously it's an extremely loud colorway, but the side shot of all these overlay panels on the lateral and medial, I really like that. And then that super aggressive design to that TPU area there, I really like the aesthetic of that, and I'm glad they were bold enough to try something this intricate and unique. Now this colorway in particular is super striking, so depending on your style, you might want to dress these up or dress these down. But if this isn't your thing in general, keep your eye on his Instagram because this is a continuing new model that he's releasing pretty frequently. So over time in the future, there's going to be a lot of options for you to pick this up in a bunch of varying colorways. But overall, I think Kai killed this design. I mean, for being 100% original design, going with that mesh runner aesthetic, these are bangers. I really like this overall, and I look forward to picking up more of these. I just think they did a really good job making something unique and different, and then the materials they chose for these overlay panels, I love that. I feel like these are really going to be durable and last, and then that insole that they put in there, that is key. I mean, yes, all the other ones have had really upgraded insoles too, but each one of these guys just brings their own flavor to it, and that for this shoe just counteracts that TPU area perfectly, so you get a nice balance and a smooth ride. As far as QC, there is visible glue stains around where the midsole connects to the upper, but with a colorway this loud, you're really not going to notice that anyways, and I think overall the craftsmanship of this is on point. Now as far as pricing, these come in at $220, and with some of the other shoes in this series being a little bit beyond that, I really think the quality you're getting for that price is decent. I'm in the US and I didn't have any issues with tariffs or anything with these. They just came directly to me. It is a little bit of a strange shipping process that they use. That app they use does not really give you a real-time update of where these are. So these just kind of showed up on my doorstep one day randomly. It took about 7 weeks from the pre-order date to when they arrive, so keep that in mind. Similar to like a hidden drop, I guess, so there is going to be a wait time on this shoe that's going to be a little bit longer than some of the other options you could have. But honestly, once you get these in hand, it makes all the difference. I'm super happy with this shoe, and it was definitely worth the wait. But that's going to wrap up my review on the KIY Runner 1. If you guys are interested, I definitely recommend going out and getting this. This is totally worth it. Just keep an eye on his Instagram. Like I said, from the packaging to the shoes to the extras and the materials, you're getting a lot of bang for your buck. But I'm going to get out of here. So thanks for watching, guys, and remember, life's short, so buy the shoes.